kind of took note of the way this is growing. You might have read or started reading the series of articles we're doing on craft distilling in the magazine. We've got 2 more of those coming up after the one in the current issue. We also have an article coming up in the next issue on European craft distilling. But today, we have for you some craft distillers from right here in America. Got 6 right here. I'm going to introduce them to you, and then we'll get a talk from them, and we'll get to sample some product. Walking here behind me is Derek Casbon from North Shore Distillery. Brian Ellison with Death's Door. Brian. Yay. And Lee Lutz with Black Star Farms. Jess Graver with Stranahan. Scott Bush, Templeton Rye. And Kent, how do you say it? Ravish. I'm sorry, I mispronounced it over there. I apologize. Kent Ravish at Grand Traverse Distillery. So I'm going to shut up and let these guys who actually know something talk to you.
All right.
I just want to go over the history a little bit. So our history actually dates all the way back to January 16th of 1920. And that is when, you know, here in our country we passed the Prohibition Act and made alcohol illegal. So looking back, you know, we all kind of know the history in hindsight, but you know, nobody quit drinking. It just all went underground and it got to the point where you know, drinking became quite dangerous because people were making these like really bad spirits. The quality of the product really went poor. But these, you know, around the same time, these farmers in Western Iowa were making rye whiskey, and they were doing so, you know, with a lot of care and making a really good product. So it was around Templeton, so they aptly called the product Templeton Rye. And you know, these guys refused to cut corners, and they really practiced their art with a lot of pride and care. And so back then, Templeton Rye got a really loyal following. It was kind of the premium spirit during that era. And it was always a very niche product. You always kind of had to know someone who knew someone who could get you a bottle of Templeton Rye at that time. But it went from being kind of this obscure, hard to get product to actually a very famous product when a former resident here in the city of Chicago by the name of Al Capone caught wind of this product. So they would make the product in Iowa and they would ship it here into Chicago to the Capone gang, and then they would distribute our product around the country to really all over. I mean, if you've ever been on our website, we have over 70 interviews of old timers with stories about Templeton Rye. And it, you know, back then it was, like I said, we were kind of the premium spirit. It was called the good stuff. So if you went to a bar and asked for their best whiskey, often they would give you Templeton Rye. Here in Chicago, speakeasies in New York, and as far west as San Francisco. So Templeton, a town of 350 people, to give you some idea of how prevalent this product was back in the day, there's a story of a stranger came into Templeton and wanted to get some whiskey. And so he went to a young man and he said, "Hey buddy, where can I get a bottle of Templeton Rye?" And if you knew the people of Templeton and knew this was an illegal product, that's not something you do. And so the guy kind of gives him a tough look and he says, "I don't know what you're talking about." And so the guy kind of realizes, you know, his lack of prudence, and he says, "Hey buddy, you know, I'm not from around here. I've always wanted to try some of the good stuff. Can you help me out?" And he said, gives him another really hard look, and he says, "Yeah, I'll help you." He says, "Look up there on the hill. Do you see that house?" "Yeah." "Well, that's the rectory. You can get Templeton Rye at any house but that one." So anyway, you know, back in that time, one of those farmers who used to make Templeton Rye was my great-grandfather, Frank Schrader, and another one was my partner Keith's grandfather, Alphonse. And so we kind of, you know, I used to come home, I lived here for years, and I'd come home for Christmas or Thanksgiving or whatnot, and my brothers and my cousins, and we'd go up to Grandpa's and he'd "Sit down, boys, let's have a drink," and reach behind the bar and kind of this is what Dad, who would be my great-grandfather, used to make during Prohibition. This saved the farm. And we were all like, "Wow, that is a really cool story, and that's a great product."
1 minute.
So I got together with Keith, and we, our kind of feeling is we're both small town Iowa guys, and this is just really a neat product with such a neat history, and it seems that it's getting harder and harder to find unique quality stories and products, but there's more and more people looking for them. So we came together and started the company. We initially worked with third parties to produce, but we've been actually distilling in Templeton now since 2005. So if you ever find yourself in the middle of western Iowa and want to come visit, we would love to have you. So we're only in 2 states, Iowa and Illinois. We sell only 400 cases a month. They're all hand numbered, hand labeled bottles, and I don't know, slowly but surely we're making it work, so help us spread the word. All right, thank you. Our product, I didn't talk about our product at all, but so we're a rye whiskey. You have to be at least 51% rye. We're somewhat unique in that our mash is over 90% rye. So I was supposed to talk about that.
Thanks for your question.
Yes, ma'am.
Since Prohibition, or is there an unofficial and official?
Well, it was, as I say that, our master distiller, Merle Kirchhoff, just walked in. Can you say hello, Merle?
Hello, everyone.
I don't know, there's rumors that there's still some but we don't care. It was huge during Prohibition, and then after Prohibition it really dried up because all the legal distilleries restarted. But rumor is there's still some stuff being made.
You started up again.
Well, then we started as a legal brand and launched our first legal product in November of 2006.
This can segue, you can go on this if you want, because I wanted to ask the guys who were making whiskey about the